Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Namaskar. This is Engineer Suraj Singh speaking from Bharat, India on this day, February 4th, 2022, Friday, and this is 3:40 a.m. मैं सूरज सिंह सिविल इंजीनियर भारत इंडिया से बोल रहा हूँ। आज दिनांक फरवरी 4, 2022, शुक्रवार सुबह के 3:40 आपके सामने प्रेजेंट टू यू today's talk in continuation to previous talks. Long history of talks, can say, with varying titles, and of course, this is one of them. Title is related to quality works, coordination, engineering, communication. When I say coordination engineering is something very different. And of course, communication, and can say, I have brought communication coordination prior to others. Then concrete, material, civil field and engineering, can say. It's other than coordination engineering, and of course contracts, safety, health, environment, designs, construction methods, and contract related arbitration. I'm saying contract related arbitration. And of course organizations means companies, institutions, and quality of materials. And this is usually everyday's talk, and you can see this certification which is specific, and it can be called competency certificate according to law. This is also certificate, that is Chartered Engineers India, that's also according to law, based on educational qualification, professional training, and statutory corporate membership. And this is membership certificate, fellow membership, that is corporate membership of institution. And this is title of one file on which we have to concentrate, and also another file on which we have to concentrate, that is coordination, engineering, projects and engineers. I don't want to bore anyone, but because this certificate, chartered engineers, you know what does it mean. This title is used by those and every person who is a corporate member of Institution of Engineers India, that is a royal chartered body, which charter was granted to it by British government in 1935. This charter empowers every corporate member to use this style and title, Chartered Engineer India. And those three members, the classes of members, corporate members, associate member, and fellow, can use this title if they require so. There are 15 engineering divisions of these institutions, and civil engineering division is one of 15 divisions of engineering. So I just close it down, and this is fellow certificate, as I said, out of 3 classes of membership. This is one, and this is very, you can say, senior most membership out of these 3, and only very experienced people are authorized to become fellow. FIE and class this also. We have now this certificate, this name board, which says that if you are interested, write to me. You are most welcome, and this is your board. Here's my photo, and this is institution's logo. You can see that SURAG_NGINEER at yhoo.co.uk. And here is certificate you have seen, is quality here, is coordination here. We have to concentrate on these files, and this is quality and coordination. And in engineering, engineering cannot be carried out otherwise. When I talk of quality, and I'm talking of quality in general and coordination in general, though I have taken here title of our country, but first we have to understand, we can apply it to our country also. No, indeed, that's not bad. But when I'm talking of what is quality and what is coordination, that point we should be clear. Maybe people ask why I'm linking this. there can be question raised by everyone, because if something is unclear, it has to be made clear. That's an important point. If you can't make it clear, means there's some ambiguity, and engineer is never dependent. Engineer can never move on suspicion. You see, there is only one field, one profession in which suspicion doesn't work. In engineering world, I mean to say, when term engineer itself applies, it has different meaning. It doesn't believe in, first of all, orthodoxism. It doesn't believe in paradoxism. It doesn't believe in, only assumptions. Even assumptions are made, but these are proven. Engineering moves on real data. It doesn't move on data to be tried. Until it is finally tried and result obtained, we cannot call it engineering. We may call it trial or science. When I'm saying engineering, it means its use of mind, and use of mind, whatever mind works, it's always very logical. Mind does not work on just imagination. And when we talk of quality, this means a direct relation to quality. Quality, there's direct relation to quantity, or you can say whatever unit of material or whatever quantity we do. Even if I talk to you, say I'm talking to you, in one way this is also a material. I'm providing some information, and that information is called material as well. Because information itself, though it's not physical material, but it's a mental material. Quality is very different term, one can say. Very different term in a sense that, आखिर मैं थोड़ी हिंदी भी बोल देता हूँ, मैंने इसमें लिख दिया है इंग्लिश एंड हिंदी. क्वालिटी को हम गुणवत्ता कहते हैं. गुणवत्ता हम जानते हैं, सब जानते हैं, आप भी जानते हैं. क्वालिटी मीन्स गुणवत्ता. दिस मीन्स ए काइंड ऑफ मेरिट इन समथिंग. व्हेन यू से दिस पर्सन हैज दिस मेरिट, दैट मेरिट, इस व्यक्ति में ये गुण है, ये अच्छा है, ये उतना अच्छा नहीं है, वो ये काम कर सकता है, वो ये काम नहीं कर सकता है. दिस पर्सन कैन डू दिस वर्क, दिस पर्सन कैन नॉट डू दैट वर्क. वी जनरली स्पेसिफाई. वी ऑलवेज कॉल गुण या अवगुण. वी कॉल गुण मीन्स merit, also I'm calling quality. Gunavatta, degree of merit. You can say whatever powerful merit you have, whatever higher merit you have, and that can be defined quality. Higher merit means more better, you can say improved quality. So merits and demerits, गुण और अवगुण हर एक में होते हैं. और क्वालिटी उसी को देख के हम कहते हैं कि गुण है, इसमें गुणवत्ता है. इसमें सिर्फ गुण नहीं है, गुणवत्ता है. इसके अंदर बहुत कुछ है जो इससे हम कार्य ले सकते हैं. क्वालिटी इज दैट. इन फैक्ट, इन शॉर्ट टर्म, अगर आप इसको विवरण करेंगे, एक्सप्लेन करेंगे, तो बहुत कुछ हो जाता है. If you have to explain what is quality, it takes time, and it takes, imports of various information from various fields of engineering as well as all other fields. So definitions, quality is quite complex. In fact, अगर आप कहें कि आप क्वालिटी को परिभाषित कीजिए, तो इसकी जो परिभाषा है बहुत मुश्किल भी होती है, बहुत आसान भी होती है. इट डिपेंड्स अपॉन, ये पर निर्भर करता है व्हाट यू आर डूइंग, आप क्या कर रहे हैं, व्हाट यू आर कंसिडरिंग, आप क्या माना जा रहे हैं, एंड व्हाट इज योर अप्रोच, और आपका रास्ता क्या है. और साथ में कोऑर्डिनेशन. कोऑर्डिनेशन को कहते हैं हम, आप कह सकते हैं समन्वय. ऐसा मिलन जिसमें कोई झगड़ा नहीं, जिसमें कोई क्लैश नहीं. ए काइंड ऑफ मीटिंग where there exists no clash and every person talks smooth, meets or speaks smooth in a constructive way, in a positive way. उसमें हर व्यक्ति एक अच्छी बात करे, समझदारी की बात करे, कुछ कार्य निर्माण करने की बात करे, तोड़ फोड़ की बात ना करे, और टक्कर ना हो एक दूसरे से, एक्सीडेंट ना हो, वो भी देखते हैं. और कोऑर्डिनेशन, ये सब एक तरह से छोटा बड़ा न समझ के आपस में साथ साथ चल के कोई भी ट्रैक पे फैसला करें. ए डिसीजन टू बी मेड, ऑल पर्सन्स यूजिंग सेम पावर, वॉकिंग ऑन सेम ट्रैक विदाउट एनी कॉन्फ्लिक्ट, विदाउट एनी dispute or without any loggerhead, they find some solution, and that's we can define coordination. Coordination is not a question of personality, your senior or junior. It's not something like that. Coordination means you have to provide information, you have to find information, and you have to use information in the right way. And that information should be based on logic. It should not be based on just because I assume this or you assume this. There's no question of horizon or mirage in this case. And that's what coordination is. हमें मृग तृष्णा नहीं है, हमें कल्पना नहीं है, हमें खाली कविताएं लिख के नहीं आगे बढ़ना है, हमको खाली दिल की बात नहीं करना है, हमको एक तरह से लॉजिक की बात करना है, कारण की बात करना है, और उसी से हम चल के कहते हैं कि इस बात का समन्वय हो गया, हम आगे चल सकते हैं, हम सक्सेसफुली कितना आगे चल सकते हैं सफलतापूर्वक, वो ही एक तरह का कार्यक्रम होता है कोऑर्डिनेशन का। आपको चलाना, सही रूप से चलाना, वी हैव टू मेक यू मूव, I have to make you move successfully. And that backup is information. Information, if it's relevant, it can lead to further steps. And that relevant information has to be imported from, has to be collected from, or to be gathered from sources or resources. And that's what you have to know. And if you don't know what resources are, you cannot extract anything. आपको पता ही नहीं कि resources कहाँ हैं, सूत्र कहाँ हैं, या हमारा इसका स्टोर कहाँ है, हम उसको इंफॉर्मेशन को, सूचना को नहीं ला सकते. We cannot get it from that place which we do not know where place is located. So coordination cannot be completed in that regard, in that aspect. That's why क्वालिटी एंड कोऑर्डिनेशन आई हैव पुट टुगेदर. इसीलिए मैंने क्वालिटी और कोऑर्डिनेशन को एक साथ मिलाया है, ये समझने के लिए कि दोनों साथ काम करते हैं, अलग अलग नहीं काम कर सकते. अभी तो मेटल भी मिलेगा इनके साथ, और भी चीज़ें मिलेंगी इनके साथ, पर अभी हम बात कर रहे हैं क्वालिटी एंड कोऑर्डिनेशन की, जो मैं समझता हूँ बहुत ऊंचे लेवल की बातें हैं. दीज टू टर्म्स, क्वालिटी एंड कोऑर्डिनेशन, in whatever world, whatever field you can say, not only in engineering but also in all other fields, if people realize these are very important and very significant terms, and you cannot avoid them even if you intend to avoid. If you intend to avoid quality and coordination, then you pull yourselves to a collapse, you push yourselves to a pit, and you go into pit where you cannot come out from. And that's where problem lies in. And nobody wants to fall, nobody wants to fail, and that's human nature. Nowhere in world human wants to fail. You want to get success in first attempt, second attempt. You do not try more, but here is different. It's continuous trial. Quality and coordination can never stop if you are alive. If you think, if you are active, if your mind is perfect, and you can use your energy for something you do not know, but you want to know, and you can know. And fortunately, you can say nowadays in the current scenario, we have information technology, we have pool of information. This information may be relevant or not relevant, that depends upon what you are looking for and how much you know about that. There can be some misleading information, there can be some leading information. Both types of information are available, because all providers of information, all authors nowadays, there is no classification of authors, because everybody can write something in public, and you can say everybody is publisher, everybody is, you can say, author, everybody is intellectual. But what level of intellectual one is, what level of author one has, that depends on material provided by that individual and what understanding we get from that. And that's why I complexly put it here in this term of, you can say, title, that we have to think of quality, then we have to think of coordination, because without coordination, quality cannot reach, and quality and coordination are related to each other, directly and proportional to each other. Whatever information of coordination you have, you can raise quality of something, or you can decrease quality of that one, depending on information they have. And then communication is that one, because without communication you cannot get information. You can say communication means internet today. It's a pool of communication, a sea or ocean of communication, you can say. And writing is communication, speaking is communication, video recording is communication. I can say whatever notes you give on the internet, whatever you are, you can find any information, wish good or bad, depends on your choice and depends on people who write. So Communication is something, so that's why I put together all this. Without communication, now I am communicating to you in terms of this talk, in terms of this video, or I write this paper, or this, you can say, quality and coordination is also kind of support to this communication. That itself is a communication. So communication, not just direct communication, can be supported communication, but communication is communication. संचार है, संचार है, चलना है आगे, नाम ही संचार है, चाल चलो, संचार करो, किसके लिए? इंफॉर्मेशन को देने के लिए, सूचना को देने के लिए। वो सूचना कैसी है वो अलग बात है, लेकिन हम दे तो रहे हैं। कम्युनिकेशन, म्यूनिकेट, म्यूनिकेट प्लस म्यूनिकेट प्लस म्यूनिकेट, एक तरह से कह सकते हैं हम जो भी हमारे मन में है या हमारे माइंड में है, उस बात को हम किसी मीडियम पे कलेक्ट करके किसी को दे दें, और वो मीडियम पेपर हो सकता है, वो मीडियम वीडियो हो सकता है, लिखित में हो सकता है, बोल में हो सकता है। और इन चीज़ों को हम अपने पास होना भी एक तरह से आप कह सकते हैं आज की डेट में कि इंटरनेट हो, नेट हो, सोच हो, इंफॉर्मेशन हो, कनेक्टिविटी हो, ये सब एक तरह का सिस्टम है, एक तरह का सिस्टम मटेरियल है। समझाने की आवश्यकता नहीं, सब समझते हैं। और हम कह सकते हैं, जिसमें मैंने लिखा कॉन्क्रीट मटेरियल, कॉन्क्रीट भी एक तो फिजिकल मटेरियल है और एक सोच का मटेरियल है। इसकी सोच बड़ी स्ट्रांग है, आपकी सोच में कॉन्क्रीट एक्शन है, सॉलिड एक्शन है, और आप कह सकते हैं कॉन्क्रीट का मतलब रिलायबल भी होता है, क्योंकि वो सारी चीज़ें कॉन्क्रीट में होती हैं जो रिलायबिलिटी डिफाइन करती है। वॉट एवर reliability defines that concrete has everything. So we can say, if we say this work is concrete, this thought is concrete, this action is concrete, and your material is concrete, concrete has, you can say, wider meaning in that case. So that's why I say concrete material or concrete action, you can say, or concrete work, you can say. This work is concrete, this plan is concrete. We can say, we don't know what shall happen once this plan is implemented, but we hope that this shall be concrete result. And of course then comes field engineering and civil engineering and engineers and contracts and all that. So my dear friends, what I'm saying is quality and coordination terms are very significant, not only this time or that time, always this have been. Though these were not formalized, we could not pinpoint that this is quality and this is no quality. It always existed, it exists now, and shall exist in future as well. So quality and coordination, these are very, you can say, a powerful terminology. Though we don't understand that, we don't understand that in real world, because it's very slow, very gradual moving, and it's very powerful, and it can't be seen just by eyes. It has to be experienced, it has to be felt, its results are to be seen, and those results are good or bad depending upon what quality did you maintain or do you maintain now. And that's where, standard exists. Your work is standard work, or your work is just useless. It depends on degree of quality, or you can say percentage of efficiency in your work, percentage of efficiency in meeting requirement in your work, and that depends on what level of coordination did you input, did you give to that, did you use on that activity, what we are considering. And therefore quality and coordination should be everywhere, in every activity in life. Whatever work you do, though that work may be measurable or may not be measurable, but it should have certain profile. That profile, you can say, is physical as well as mental. And how do you use that material, how do you receive that material, how do you deliver that material, and how life moves, that is where we can say there's always consideration. And that's the reason I want to change my thought. And when thoughts are changed, you can change everything, because whatever is available is based on sometimes used thoughts, and that's why I say if you deliberate on quality and coordination, if you concentrate on these two and contemplate what are these, how these work, where these we can go with to, and where from these have come, such questions cannot be answered directly, and these answers would be different given by every person, including myself. So this is my expression based on experience. I'm trying to share with everybody what does it mean. I'm not going to dictionary for this because that is different meaning. I'm trying to create my own contemplation on these terms, that is quality and coordination, because these are missing these days. To be very frank, these words in action have been missing from each and every part of our country as well as other country. But since I am talking in general currently, that's why I have put my country little behind this, but that is a very important point. In fact, my talk is target, or my talk is aimed about improvement of quality and coordination in our country. But since I assume whole world as my country, as is required, therefore it's applicable everywhere. मैं नहीं कह सकता कि मैं सिर्फ ये बात भारत के लिए कर रहा हूँ, इंडिया के लिए कर रहा हूँ, क्योंकि ये बात मैं सब के लिए कर रहा हूँ, लेकिन फिर भी क्योंकि मैं भारतीय हूँ, आज की तारीख के इस कंडीशन के हिसाब से जो देश बने हैं, हालांकि मैं किसी देश को देश नहीं मानता, पूरा विश्व देश है. फॉर मी होल वर्ल्ड इज़ वन कंट्री, whole humanity is one. That is my thinking, and that's thinking of everybody, though one may accept or one may not accept, that is different, because we are all one family, we come from same God, so we have to be of same understanding. But that understanding is a question mark, because when we are physical, we have all differences, but once we forget physical requirement, then we are all same. But that is very different point, very full stop, comma and mark of interrogation point, that we can say we are all same. It is good in statement making, it is good in only statement or political speech or spiritual speech, but facts are always different, and that's where we can say quality of life is questioned. It's quality of life also when we consider which country you belong to. I say, or I ask someone, my dear, there is no country first of all, it is relative country. Whatever countries are there in world, that is your creation. God made only one country in this solar system, and that is Earth, or lithosphere plus aerospace. So we should, that's what I'm saying, quality opinion. It's not a spiritual opinion. I'm not talking a spiritual, because it's very difficult to explain spiritualism, and spiritualism cannot be linked to mundane world, because we do not see soul, just like we cannot see electricity supply current, but we can feel it, we can use it. So therefore my quality and coordination applies to each and every body. It applies to our actions, it applies to our reactions, it applies to our contemporary thoughts, it applies to our past thoughts. And therefore quality and coordination are very different technologies, specifically and particular in both. And we have to apply to our requirements, we have to apply to others' requirements, we have to apply to our society at our national level and international level. And that's why, everything is mixed up, everything is confused, and which means we want to fight with each other, or we want to be friends with each other. We have to decide that. If two persons decide we are friends or we are enemies, that makes a difference, to be very frank. That makes a difference. If two have decided we are enemies, so actions and reactions will be entirely different. If I decide, no, we have to see together, we have to work together, we have to live together, then life has changed and quality comes into play, positive quality comes into play, destructive quality goes off, constructive quality comes into action. So you can say quality means, it means bad quality or good quality, both. Both are quality. Just like you can say thermal energy. It may be a negative degree temperature, but energy exists. It may be positive degree temperature, but energy exists in both ways. So energy cannot be destructive same way. Consideration of quality cannot be destructive. Quality is a character, in fact. क्वालिटी क्या है, गुणवत्ता क्या है? गुणवत्ता एक चरित्र है, वो चरित्र किसी का भी हो सकता है, आपका, मेरा, सामान का, वस्तु का, कार्यक्रम का, किसी का भी। आप किस तरह से करते हैं, वट वी वांट टू परफॉर्म, दैट डिपेंड्स अपॉन दिस. सो वी हैव टू थिंक एंटायरली इन अ डिफरेंट पर्सपेक्टिव व्हाट क्वालिटी इज. इसलिए हमको सोचना होगा एक अलग अंदाज में कि आखिर गुणवत्ता क्या है, उसको हम कैसे चलाएं, उस गुणवत्ता को कैसे पाएं. हाउ डू यू मूव दैट क्वालिटी, हाउ डू यू रन दैट क्वालिटी, हाउ कैन वी गेट दैट क्वालिटी, व्हाट्स प्रोसीजर ऑफ दैट, व्हाट्स मेथड ऑफ दैट. It depends on that. That's very important part talking in, and it's really very very important to talk like that. Sometimes we think talking is very easy. Yes, it's very easy if you just talk. Talking is very easy. Everybody can talk. But I'm not happy with just talking. My question is not talking. My question is understanding. My question is clarity. If I talk something I can't explain, then that's only title. I know I don't know details of that. That's why only talking is not enough. First of all, we have a capacity. We should think on that. See, when I talk of quality, then we have to talk of capacity also, potential also, and root of all that, that is thinking process. Also, we have to talk of that. Thinking comes only from problems. It doesn't come otherwise. If I don't have problems, I can't think of solutions. And if I have problems, I certainly shall think of solutions. And nobody can deny this fact that what I think I have to do. And what I do, then I have to think on that, what I have done. And if I don't think anything, I do something, then it's very normal. You can say it's a practice, it's convention. I cannot add anything to that. मैं जब ऐसा ही करता रहूँ कि जैसा होता है चलो करते रहिए, क्या सोचना है इसके बारे में, सोच के क्या होने वाला है, तो मैं वैसा ही करूँगा जैसा होता रहा है. उससे अच्छा भी हो सकता है, बुरा भी हो सकता है, लेकिन इतना ज़्यादा नहीं होगा कि उसको हमारे सोच की ज़रूरत है. इसलिए हर आदमी सोच भी नहीं सकता. सोचेंगे वही चीज़, बस थोड़ा बहुत सोच लिया, काम हो गया, खा लिया, फिर सो गए. मैं उस लेवल के सोच की बात नहीं कर रहा, मैं इनोवेशन के सोच की बात कर रहा हूँ. कुछ नया सोचें, जैसे हम कहते हैं, आइए कुछ नई बात करें. ये पुरानी बातें लेके क्या बैठे हो, कुछ आगे चलते हैं. हम ऐसा सोचते हैं. हम सोचते क्या है, ऐसा होता है, लाइफ में होता है और हर जगह होता है, पूरे मानवता में होता है. हम जैसे बैठ जाते हैं जरा सी बातों पर झगड़ा करने के लिए. जैसे एग्जाम्पल ले लीजिए, धर्म पे झगड़ा, आपके पोस्ट पे झगड़ा, आपके पैसे पे झगड़ा, आपके समाज में किसी और बात पे झगड़ा. बड़ा आसान है. अगर आप झगड़ा करके खुश हैं तो भाई इसमें तो कोई लड़ाई नहीं है, आप झगड़ा जितना मर्जी कर लीजिए. यू कैन गो टू वट एवर टू फाइट, टू डिस्प्यूट, टू आर्ग्यू, देयर इज नो एंड. बट दैट इज नेगेटिव क्वालिटी. यू कैन से बर्बादी की तरफ जाने वाला रास्ता, ए रूट दैट गोज टू ruining yourself, to ruining society. And remember, it's very fast. Speed of ruining, speed of spoiling is always very very fast. It's always very successful. Breaking something is very successful. Demolishing or destruction something is very spaceful, very very easy. You don't need any training for that, only just to keep yourself safe and do it. And that's why I take assets. Yeah, means if you're dropping something, and drop it, may of course it may break your leg, your foot, or something else. Or if you break somebody's head, right? That's the point. I'm really very much to think about. And if we can't think about, then we make a mistake. That's the point, always very important, very essential, how we think, how we do. And that can be taken for granted in any way. We have to be very serious about that. Not just talking about something unknown. I'm talking about something everybody knows. And when I talk of quality, then I come to my country also. So I say, Bharat, India speaks. And we have every right to speak. As a part of humanity, as a part of many nations, when we come to relative word, not original word, in fact, there is no Bharat, there is no UK, there is no USA, there is nothing, to be very frank. Because these are our own creations. But whatever it is, We have to accept facts that we exist. So we have to talk about our country and we have to talk about other countries. Because I am not very much concerned with other countries, there are people who are concerned with that. I am concerned with my country as in mundane world, as in this body, and as in relation to world. I am Indian, I am Bharatvasi. So I have to be of that understanding. I cannot say I am originally Bharatvasi, that is wrong. Yes, I am Bharatvasi, I am Indian because I have born by a person who stayed in this part of world. And that's why I am Indian, Bharatvasi, and it applies to every other citizen of other countries because they were born there. Otherwise, there is no relation. I am a world citizen. Right? I am Earth citizen. I am lithosphere citizen. I am solar system citizen. That is a fact. That is a fact because God taught us something else. God trained us something else. God said, you go to Earth and stay there, which is a part of my solar system. But I did not listen to that. I did not listen to that at that time. I missed that class or missed that talk. I was sleeping in that. मैं जब भगवान बता रहा था आप जाइए वहाँ रहिए वहीं काम करके आइए, मैं उस समय सो रहा था, नींद आ रही थी मुझको, मैं भगवान की बात को सुन नहीं रहा था और इसलिए आते आते भूल गया कि मुझे क्या करना है और आके ये याद रहा कि मैं भारत का हूँ, मैं यूके का हूँ, मैं इंग्लैंड का हूँ, मैं अमेरिका का हूँ, मैं यहाँ का हूँ, मैं वहाँ का हूँ। और सच बात तो ये मैं कहीं का भी नहीं हूँ, भारत का भी नहीं हूँ, मैं पूरे विश्व का हूँ, मैं पूरे भगवान के सौरमंडल का हूँ। ये बातें हमें याद नहीं रहती। वी फॉरगेट ऑल दिस बिकॉज वी आर इन ह्यूमन बॉडी विच इज़ नथिंग बट विच हैज टू डिस्ट्रॉय इटसेल्फ। एक दिन हमारी बॉडी ख़त्म होनी है, इस बात को हम याद नहीं रखते, हम भूल जाते हैं। खैर छोड़िए, मैं बात में नहीं जाता, लेकिन वहाँ क्वालिटी शुरू हो जाती है, हमारी सोच सब कुछ बदल देती है। आवर ओपिनियंस, आवर थॉट्स, आवर कंटेम्पलेशन चेंज एवरीथिंग। दैट फैक्ट हैज़ टू बी अंडरस्टूड। इस बात को हम नहीं समझेंगे तो हम कुछ नहीं कर सकते। और सोच यहीं से आता है, इंजीनियरिंग भी यहीं से आती है। व्हाट आई से, इंजीनियरिंग स्टार्ट्स फ्रॉम हियर इटसेल्फ। वी हैव टू स्टार्ट थिंकिंग अबाउट, एंड थिंकिंग इटसेल्फ इज अ पार्ट ऑफ इंजीनियरिंग। वी कैन नॉट डू इंजीनियरिंग विदाउट थिंकिंग। अगर हम सोचेंगे नहीं तो हम अभियांत्रिकी में काम नहीं कर सकते, क्योंकि अभियांत्रिकी सोच पे चलती है, खाली झूठ पे नहीं। मैं बार बार कहता हूँ, फैक्ट्स से ही इंजीनियरिंग है, जो है वही इंजीनियर्ड है, और जो हम कर रहे हैं वो भी इंजीनियरिंग है। हम कविता नहीं लिख रहे, हम कहानी नहीं सुना रहे। अगर हम सुना रहे हैं तो जो हुआ है उसको सुना रहे हैं, और वो कहानी नहीं है, वो फैक्ट्स हैं। दैट इज फैक्ट दैट वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट, एंड दैट्स वेयर माय टॉक्स आर ऑलवेज डिफरेंट। आई नेवर राइट एनीथिंग टू प्ले, आई नेवर प्लॉट एनीथिंग। मैं कोई लिख के आपसे बात नहीं कर रहा, मैं कोई कहानी का सूत्र बना के आपसे बात नहीं कर रहा, अपने विचारों को नहीं प्रकट कर रहा, मैं वास्तविकता को प्रकट कर रहा हूँ, जो मैंने समझा है, देखा है। वट एवर एक्सपीरियंस इन माई लाइफ, आई फेस्ड इन माई लाइफ, आई स्टडीड इन माई लाइफ, आई हैव एक्सपीरियंस इन माई लाइफ, दैट्स आई एम ट्राइंग टू शेयर विद यू। इट मे बी यूजफुल, इट मे नॉट बी यूजफुल, इट डिपेंड्स अपॉन व्हाट आई टॉक एंड व्हाट कम्स टू माई माइंड। And I'm sometimes surprised to know that during talk itself some point comes to my mind, and including the point into that talk which was never planned. And that's what I think we have to be aware of this. Now, but relatively I am speaking of Bharat, and it's not originally. Again I say, I don't believe in any partition of this world. But because we are all selfish, and when this partition was done at that time, I think people didn't know about others. So that time it was done, no problem, I have no dispute over that. After all, you are on earth. You may be Indian, you may be Pakistani, you may be English or American or Canadian. It doesn't make any difference except enjoying economy. That's all. Even if a Canada born, I can't make Canada hot. It is cold. Same way, Africa cannot be changed in its climate. But don't forget, climate is same for everybody. There is no partition in air. There is no partition in sea. All continuous. There is no partition in internal structure of earth. Nobody can say today, this 1 kilometer depth, if you find some area, this is yours, and if you go down to center of earth, this is yours, this part is yours. Can somebody say that? No, nobody can say that. But we are enjoying power of earth, we are enjoying economy of earth, and we are making our economy from earth, and that's also a fact. We all use air free of cost, we all use solar system free of cost, we all use soil free of cost, and we eat all that from crops. And then we are saying this is my country and this is your country. Nobody is saying this portion, this section of earth is mine. Nobody is saying this pollution is mine. I give you pollution free air. You take this air, I take that air. I take this part of air, you take that part of. Can you say that? Even animals also using same air and creatures also. Oh, we are all foolish people. You can say that way that this is my country and this is your country. In spite of the fact that whole world is for everyone. This point we cannot understand. God has given enough surface to grow crop and enough water to use, but we have acted like idiots, you can say. We people of world are foolish, are selfish, are idiots, and not scientific, not logical. But some people are logical who do not accept what everyone accepts. That is important point here. And that nature of conduct, that nature of our understanding is also relevant to quality standard. This is our quality to fight with people, to kill people, to manufacture something that kills others, or to, you can say in name of religion, in name of power, in name of this we fight. I am dominant, you are my junior, you have to listen to me, this new world order. Every top people of world, top politicians of world, you say, this is new world order, as if they are honor of words to decide. They don't know about anything after 1 second what shall happen, but they decide about world order. I don't know, they would have decided of solar system order, they would decide about universe order. They never decide anything, but they say, we are this power. That's why I'm saying to you that we have to think at low level, not at that level which is beyond our control. We cannot control the skies, but we want to control the sky. That's what I say. No meaning at all. We do not know anything about universe and we want to control that. Same way happens here on earth. We don't have our power, but we want to use our power. If suppose God gives you write your own schedule of entry and schedule of exit, what shall you write? अगर आपसे भगवान पूछे कि आप खुद लिखिए कि आप कितने दिन यहाँ रहना चाहते हैं, तो आपका क्या आंसर होगा? कोई सोच सकता है? कोई आंसर दे सकता है? Can someone answer this? How many days you shall like to reside on this planet? Can someone answer? Suppose, okay, good, you say, what if you write? I'll take action on that, I'll give you that gift. What shall be your answer? Can someone tell me? That's what I'm talking about. Opinions, I'm talking of thinking, I'm talking about what level of thinking we have, what we can do. If I say, no, I want to live for 5,000 years, and God say, okay, go live for 5,000 years, then what shall happen to me? Can I survive for 5,000 years? That is very important question. See, we have to be little different in this. That's the only reason that I keep myself so Bharat India currently, because there is no meaning in expansion. Expansion shall come automatically. So I say Bharat India speaks about quality and coordination. Get up quality and get up coordination. I do not repeat it every time. This is written, you can read yourself. What I'm saying is, I want to come out of that sleep. We have slept, we are sleeping, everybody is sleeping. And actually, when I say sleeping, means the facts are sleeping. What should come out is sleeping. जो सच है वो सो रहा है और झूठ है वो जाग कर काम कर रहा है, क्योंकि सच और झूठ एक साथ तो चल नहीं सकते, जिस तरह से दिन और रात एक साथ नहीं चल सकते. Just like fire and darkness cannot stay together. Just like electric bulb and darkness cannot stay together when electric bulb is on. You get my point? Can darkness and light at one place stay together? If you say yes, stay together, then I have no answer to say, because then your mind is locked, it cannot work, it's packed, it's virus free, it's virus put, its information has been, scrapped, it has been caught up, arrested. Vital information has been arrested. That resource has been seized. We say vital information is also under seize. In that case, your mental resource has been seized. So you cannot accept, you cannot check, you cannot differentiate, you cannot find analytical answer to your questions. In that case, you are not an engineer and you are not a professional, because a professional writes something, it admits something, it's understood that professional has analyzed that from every aspect, or else there is no meaning of that information. It's just a part of post office work, nothing else. So if you are a post office professional or you are analytical professional, that you have to decide. If you are a post office professional, then you are just a post person, nothing else. You cannot think. You just read your your address and deliver that, and that's it, nothing else. You can say that position, if you are off, you belong to, in that case quality or quality and coordination have gone no meaning. कुछ नहीं मतलब गुणवत्ता से, संचार से, माध्यम से, समन्वय से अगर आपने सोचना नहीं की, कसम खा रखी है तो। लेकिन मैं तो सिर्फ इतना कह रहा हूँ, आप सोना छोड़ दीजिए या छोड़िए मत, रुक जाइए और हमारे देश में जागिए. You be awakened in my country, relative country, I can say Bharat, India. Until I stay in this, then I have to wake up you, I have to awaken you, and I have to awaken myself and try to sleep minimum, so that minimum time is lost and we can move further on every work which can be called quality and coordinated work. So I am just requesting, be my friend here, don't worry about anything else. You have to be my friend, and that friendship is always very important because it works well. There's no way that we can have disputes otherwise. So I say, cannot work in my profession without you. We are friends together for all others. And let me just blow it down so that it's made full scene full. I think it's more than that. Third one, that is better. So it is what I can say. It has not been there, so I put down 105. So let's say 105. It's okay. And I now again say that quality, you cannot leave me because you are my destiny, and for nation as well. So that's very important part. We are saying, be my friend because I cannot work with my profession without you both, and you both are quality and coordination. In fact, you are my efficiency, you are my personality, you are my action, and you are my property. You can say property, my bank balance you are. It's not money balance, it is potential balance. A person who has quality, I respect that person has money itself. It's not money, it's different type of money which cannot be called universal or unit currency. That money is your power, your strength, or you can say your determination. A quality person is always a determined one, a person who has courage to solve some problem. A person who can work in coordination is a person who pinpoints everything, who can check links of everything, who can understand what is given and what should be given, who can differentiate them, who can find these are blanks and you have to fill. And what requires to be filled is we have to select and we have to elect and then to place there and see how does it work. That's why I'm saying quality makes complete change professional. In fact, quality makes professional, and coordination makes a differentiation. It tells us where we have to do. It's like differential calculus. It's like integral calculus. From this limit to that limit we have to go. What is a replacement of sine theta in differential calculus? And we can say how trigonometry works, and that's what is our life. There are three angles. We have to understand all these three angles in our life. We can say that in relation to trigonometry, triangle. A triangle itself is a figure. We know without triangle nothing can exist, only line. So we know life itself is a triangle, which we can't understand. Three angles. हम तीन त्रिभुज समझ नहीं सकते, हम जीवन को नहीं समझ सकते, हमें किस तरह रहना है नहीं समझ सकते. एक प्रिंसिपल हो गया है, खाओ पियो सो पैसा कमाओ, खाओ पियो सो पैसा कमाओ और जिंदगी जीते जाओ. Is that only life? Just eat, just live, just enjoy life and go on living. Is that only? Is it quality in our life? What's happening today? See, whole population of world, all countries of world, all leaders of world, all scientists of world, everyone is moving towards economy. Yes, it's very important part of life indeed. We cannot discard this fact that economy has to be worked upon, has to be managed and propagated. But we don't have economy in origin. We don't have ownership of that, but we are making ourselves owners for something we do not know how long it shall work. And that's where quality stratification is destructed. Is destructive in fact. Every country has its own interest. No one has world's interest. Example is here, pollution, you can say. Pollution is impacting everybody, all time, every moment. And it's our own creation. We can blame each other, that's different, but human created pollution. God had given solution for good air, for good environment, for good water bodies, for good soil, but we are so hungry for breaking, extracting resources of this earth, from this earth, that we do not care of anything else. We just care of what is my production per year, how much fossil oil I can take out, how much gold I can take out, how much mining I can do. All this we think upon. We think upon extracting wealth from earth and nothing else. We cannot make wealth of earth, but we can extract it from earth, और वी कैन रिड्यूस पावर ऑफ अर्थ इन टर्म्स ऑफ वेल्थ. यही हमारी सोच है. कितना निकाल लें इस जमीन से, कितना निकाल के खा जाएं, कितना कुछ ले लें. हमारी अर्थव्यवस्था इसी पर तो निर्भर है. हवा हमें दी है, पानी हमें दिया है, सूरज हमें दिया है, एयर हमें दी है, उसके बाद भी हमारी भूख खत्म नहीं होती. भगवान ने इतनी ज़मीन दी है कि आप खेती करके सब खा सकते हैं, लेकिन हम खाते तो हैं लेकिन कहते हैं कुछ नहीं हुआ, और चाहिए. उसके लेने के बाद भी कुछ नहीं हुआ, और चाहिए. ये भूख क्या क्वालिटी बताती है? इज इट क्वालिटी लाइफ? व्हाट्स हैपनिंग टुडे यू थिंक इट्स क्वालिटी वर्क? होल वर्ल्ड इज बिहाइंड समथिंग. मनी, मनी, मनी. My production, your production, my GDP, your GDP. Nobody knows GDP of humanity. What is GDP of humanity? What is GDP of quality? What I say, GDP, for example, you say, okay, gross domestic production. I can say what is quality production, what is coordination production, what is existence production, what is survival production, what is pollution removing production. What is that? What is earth keeping production? Do we have that? No, we don't have. We do not discuss about that. You may be whatever degree holder, nobody discusses, nobody thinks about that. Economists think I should have, my country should have this much percentage per growth percentage. Scientists think I should get some more explosion, some formula and technology. Same way engineer thinks so. Everybody thinks to get something. Nobody thinks to, how to help God improve this earth. So our original quality itself is rubbish, you can say. We are just oriented toward making more and more money. That is also not real. That's also valued money, not real money. So my dear, our roots are wrong. Our roots are having negative quality. Today, what happens? Whatever parent consider or think about education of their kids, always from beginning to end, we only think about how much salary, how much wealth this my kid can earn from education. Education has been tied up to money value, not to learning value. Learning and earning, there are two issues. If there is no learning, you can have earning also in that case. But if there is no earning, you cannot live, that is also true. But learning and earning cannot be put in same package. Learning is development of mind. Learning is earning new knowledge. It leads from one point to another point. Learning means what level of person you are to solve some problems. That is learning. But earning is only for using. Okay, I am earning this much money, I am rich, I have so much money, I am number one in this world. So what? If somebody is number one or number two or number three, how does it make difference in others' life? Only thing is that you have a chance to use more economical power. That's it. You can buy something, you can use it. You can get some comfort in life, you can some benefit in life. But don't forget, this money cannot save you. Your money didn't help you come out of COVID problem. It's a very good example, current example. COVID-19 itself is very, very example. It's a big teacher, it's a big professor, I can say. It has put whole world into it under a hammer. It has hammered our heads. But still today we do not know what's happening. What is this corona? Even today, we cannot answer this question. No scientist, no doctor, no one has been able to respond to this question, explain what COVID is and how it affects us. That's why still we are sleeping or we are forced to sleep. Corona has forced us to sleep and not to think about itself. Now, what example do you want? Is not an example? More than 2 years we don't know what's that. Means our 2 years work failed us to tell what it is. So what sort of work we are doing? This means we don't have patience to think about. Still today, it's killing people, it's impacting us, but everybody is interested in economy. Everyone is interested in economy. Though it's not ours, economy is not ours, it's God's wealth. Economy comes from earth and earth has got wealth in itself. We have no contribution to that. Only contribution is we enjoy earth's wealth and we, just like we take out money from our pocket and go on spending that. We have made earth our pocket, but earth is not our pocket, you should keep that in mind. So, kind of explanations are always different and we have to go towards that. I just try to explore what is meaning of quality, what's meaning of quality, and to explore that we have to link to other unrelated or related titles, just like earth, just like economy. These are relevant because ultimately we have to use economy, we have to use earth for all works we do. Without earth there can be no engineering, without engineering there is no work. You can say very raw life, very primitive life, which cannot even be called life, but just to live. Just like we say, living, clothes and house, basic requirements are these. रोटी कपड़ा और मकान भी से हम कहते हैं रोटी कपड़ा मकान एक बहुत बड़ी रिक्वायरमेंट है, मिलनी चाहिए हर एक को. सच बात है, मिलनी चाहिए, गॉड ने दी है, पर हम उसको नहीं मानते. यही एक प्रॉब्लम है. दैट्स अ प्रॉब्लम. वेल, इट्स अ डिफरेंट टॉक, बट आई जस्ट ट्राई टू एक्सप्लेन व्हाट दे मीन बाय क्वालिटी एंड कोऑर्डिनेशन, हाउ डू दिस रिलेट टू आवर लाइफ एंड how we can consider, how we can understand, how we can define these. And definition is also important to understand something. If you cannot define in the proper way, you cannot understand anything. That's also true. So quality and coordination are such terms. It means just as much as you think about it, you can more and more answer. It's not book answer, it's just understanding answers. I don't believe in books all because every author cannot explain everything. And it depends on the experience of your contemplation, how authors think about, how they refer to. But for kids it's better to just explain something in some way so that people can understand. But real education is different. That's what I say. Real education is different, and we should know that the quality cannot go. Quality cannot go. It always wants to live, but it depends upon us. How do you conduct with this? If you respect it, don't respect it. If you don't respect quality, this means you don't respect yourself because you are quality. I am quality, right? Can you agree with that? If I say I am quality, what's wrong with that? And if you are quality, what's wrong with that? Everyone has some quality, so I call I am quality. I am full quality. I am not a person. I am a quality person. I say, listen, I believe in quality. I trust in quality. I hold quality up high. I uphold it. Because I am not paying for anything. I am paying same amount, even if it's bad quality or good quality. So quality, you cannot leave me. That's what I am saying. Because you are my destiny. How many people say quality is destiny? I don't think even 2% people say. Oh no, let it go on, no problem, we'll manage, we'll do something, we'll manage. I don't know what's management meaning of that. Not only in the marriage journal, it is done everywhere in the world. You go and see. So, okay, manage it, I'll manage it, you manage it. I don't understand the meaning of the was manage means what do you mean with this means I handle it my way, you handle it your way, and I have destiny. I'll use it for whatever way I have, and I want to get my result. I want to get profit. I want to get means ultimately limit goes to profit making. As if you made something, though you made nothing. You use that material and you abuse that metals one of two, and you made it destiny, and destiny is ultimately is temporary, and you have to think that this is permanent, and that's the only difference. So there's no destiny for nation, there's destiny for whole world. If I make some batteries for humanity, just like electricity is available, somebody made it not for this country, for whole world. Air is for all. God made everything for everyone, for whole world. It's not for just one person, 2%, one nation, two nations. So I say quality youth can't live because you're my friend, my destiny, and you're more than my siblings, you're more than my everything, and for nation as well as for whole world. And that's why I say others may not, but engineers can handle you successfully. To an extent engineering is concerned, to some works are concerned, to whatever is concerned, engineers can handle it successfully. So we require to establish permanently. Can you? Quality, can you? Yes, you can, because I have to establish permanently until I am able to go. I would say able to go. If I don't go, I am unable to go. So we require to establish it permanently until I live, I should say, which I did not write here. That's understood. We require to establish it permanently in engineering profession and also other walks of life. And that's what I have to say. It's actually very different. And again we come back to quality engineering and coordination engineering, which are important part of world, and irrespective of fact that you may like it or you may not like it, you have to come every stand, you have to handle, you have to deal with quality engineering and coordination engineering. And if you don't deal with that in your ordinary life also, even maybe you are not from engineering, you are not from quality or coordination, but at some point or other point every day you have to deal with this in your conduct, in your work, in your approach, everywhere. You have to meet quality engineering and coordination engineering. Despite you are not an engineer, you have to handle these. Whatever work you do, you have to handle these. So that's why I'm saying, I'm not going for the explanation of the, I'll go back, jump onto something we can say other product file, and that's coordination engineering. As I'm saying, I just keep two files together and to just think on that. And it's very, very big, though it's a starting file. I just started this a couple of days before, just to shift it from one directional talk to two directional talk, and that's I added coordination engineering projects and engineers, etc. And that's why I say coordination. This means communication support is essential for reliable coordination, as we discuss every day. Of course, it's nothing that we cannot discuss it on this very important work. We discuss every day something, and of course I find happy of myself, interested in this, that we can at least move on to this, and that way it's good. You can say my battery is fully charged. I'll put off it so that it doesn't. I'll put off it and come back just half a minute. Now, I just like to share my opinion with you also at same time discussing, because विचार करना भी जरूरी होता है लोगों के साथ. खाली ये नहीं कि जो मैंने लिख दिया मैं उसी बात करनी है. लिखना एक रेफरेंस है. Whatever I write here as a part of my talk, it doesn't mean I have to track on that only. It's for you. I have written, you can read yourself, but what I'm talking is something different. Every time I add something, because opinion never stops. A pool of opinion can never stop. आपके मन में जो विचार आते हैं आते रहेंगे, आप रोक नहीं सकते उसको. रोकेंगे तो गलत है, रोक नहीं सकते विचारों को. और इसलिए मैं कहता हूँ whatever I'm saying, मैं थोड़ा हिंदी भी बोल देता हूँ इसमें, तो कोई प्रॉब्लम ना लगे. But you see, Uh, what happens is fertility of mind. You got my point. Fertility of mind or futility of mind. When we say something is futile or something is fertile, everybody knows it, maybe somebody doesn't know it, and I can explain that. What is the meaning of futile and what is the meaning of fertile? Though the spelling is almost same, little difference, futile and fertile. F-U-T-I-L-E, futile, only F-U-T is there, and if you say fertile, it is F-U-R-T-I-L-E. Difference of only this T and R. But it's entirely different word. You see, we can say fertilizer, right? This is something that can grow, you can grow something with that. And we don't say fertilizer, but it's also a fact. Fertile and futile, both are available in our work. Maybe my work, I say it is futile. This is no meaning. It's not useful. If my work is fertile, it shall come out with constructive, productive result. And that result or product, whatever it is, that is useful. That is good for progress. So what I am saying is, it's fertile or futile. We have to decide about that, what we have to do. How shall our work result in? How shall it be taken? We know all that. Therefore, it's a question, different question you can say. We have to think it that way, but we never think like that, and that's our problem. And that's our problem, in fact. So, to be very frank, I would say in my reference that when I'm talking of reliable coordination, I'm talking of something very strongly messaged. And meaning of reliable is that it has to be done again and again with success, with relation, with action, with proposition, with commitment, with dedication, with devotion. There is no attribute that should be left when we talk of work, in fact. Coordination is a reference to work also, because if coordination is done properly, work is done properly. So when I say I have to talk of coordination, this means there is always nation in that. Ordination, in fact it is coordination. And ordination is something upright, standing in direction, having strength in you. You cannot cripple it. It's not flat. I am talking in relation to axis, or you can say planar axis, not three-dimensional axis. It's not a space, but just a plan, or it's the planar work. It is co-planar. So I'm talking of that opposite to x-axis, horizontal axis. I'm imaginarily talking vertical axis, though it's in the same plane. And that's what I say, coordinate. Means there may be many ordinates for one work. There may be many ordinates, on a vertical members in that work. You may call one work as many members. And all members have to act so that that work is done. All those members have to cooperate, and they are going to cooperate. They shall cooperate, because everybody has different opinion, yet they want to stand together. As coordinates means there is no questioning and answering session, but all are equal. There is no inferior superior section. I cannot say I am senior to you, you listen to me, or you say I am junior to you, tell me. No, that's information is available for everyone, by everyone. And that information has to be streamlined among that requirement, and everybody has to accept this. Everybody has to contribute to that information transmission, or whatever else you can say, making information yourself. So that is where coordination counts in. And coordination means we have not to fight, but we have to work together. And you can say it's a solution. It's a solution that can change entire issue. Coordination is a success, means work can be successful. If you have coordinated well, अगर आपने सही तरह से संतुलन बनाए रखा है, सही तरह से काम के बारे में सोचा है कि हमें ये काम ऐसे करना है और आप वैसे ही करें, अगर तो हो सकता है उसमें कोई गलती रह जाए, लेकिन ऐसा ज़्यादा होता नहीं है, सक्सेस आती है। एंड दिस मीन्स कोऑर्डिनेशन मीन्स सक्सेस ऑफ वर्क। अगर आप कोऑर्डिनेट नहीं करेंगे तो आपको इन्फॉर्मेशन नहीं मिलेगी, आपको इन्फॉर्मेशन नहीं मिलेगी तो आप उसका यूज़ भी नहीं कर सकते। इसलिए कोऑर्डिनेशन इम्पोर्टेंट है। सब लोगों को समझ नहीं आती है, लेकिन समझ तो आना होगा एक दिन। वर्ड सब जानते हैं कि कोऑर्डिनेशन होती है, कम्युनिकेशन होती है, लेकिन वो क्या होती है ये सब नहीं जानते। एवरीबडी नोस इन दिस वर्ल्ड व्हाट इज कोऑर्डिनेशन, व्हाट इज कम्युनिकेशन, but what is coordination, how it works, everybody doesn't know. Even many educated people I have seen, they cannot coordinate. It's not because they are not educated, but because they have no clear concept of what coordination is. There is no education basis of coordination is. That's why I'm trying to explain this exploratory in a way that can be intensified in understanding. So as I say in beginning every day, I talked to you about this last time, and up to many points I talked. You can say I talked about point number one, like there's so many points in that we talked about, and all that we talked and did. That coordination, you can say so many points are there. I think we had gone somewhere. Which point it was, I don't know. I don't exactly remember. If I read all that, we started with this point. Coordination definition is how do we understand this, and then it is a lot of facts behind that. We can say, as I say, coordination is not understood by many professionals. That's true. Not only many, I think generally professionals do not know. They know what is coordination, but they do not do it. They do not conduct it, and those who conduct are very successful. Those people who are able to conduct coordination, they are very successful professionals in every profession, because this helps them when they are interested to that. Even if they do not coordinate, they ask someone else to coordinate for them, and that's also not bad if you got someone to analyze and do it for you. It's also true everybody cannot be considered to be owned everything. You cannot own everyone. Okay, you have this responsibility. You have the, all responsibilities are yours. I have no responsibility. People cannot say that. Coordination is not understood by many professionals and others in right expression, right requirements, and that's also true. And it is also factual that without adequate and efficient work of coordination in professional works, in professional engineering, in professional whatever profession, works cannot be successfully accomplished or completed. That's also a fact. You shall do work if you do not coordinate properly. It may be defective, or it may not be successful fully. And maybe you have to amend that work, or you have to change that work, or you have to completely do it again. This means a waste of time, waste of money, waste of skills, everything is waste. So you can say, if someone claims that it should be right to admit that coordination failure leads to engineering designs and construction failure. Do you accept that point? I claim that if your design is not according to requirement, your design is not well coordinated, which it was only in your preview, in your prerogative to coordinate it at very high level. It is because you are a designer, not a small person. You are not a lower profile, you are a higher profile of thinking. Design means higher profile of thinking. You are entirely busy all the time. We can't say that you do not care for other person. Maybe somebody in your home, and you are studying, that person is not working for you, but that person knows what's your nature. That's important. Your parent know, your siblings know. That's why I'm saying that everybody cannot coordinate, but understanding is a must. And it shall be right to admit that coordination failure leads to engineering failure, or engineering design, and engineering design leads to construction failure. And that's also true. You cannot be saying no. Do you want failure or do you want success? No, it's up to you. How do you want that? What do you want that? Everything cannot be all time said, okay, fine, and likewise. And this way you can say, for many engineers, coordination remains very delicate. It's also true, and Engineers try to avoid involving in coordination, complexity, because coordination itself complexity, and just expect someone else to do work for them or for you, or someone else should give final working drawings and working designs. And a fact also says another fact that, in fact, I have experienced that engineers from around world scenario, majority engineers population is too big. They don't have any interest in working on coordination activities due to essential requirement. Essential requirement is on concentrating or focusing, you can say concentrating or focusing, you can say concentrating or focusing constantly on engineering and in-depth technical issues involved. Problems are not counted in numbers, but problems are weighed in strength, in potential. Considering gravity of situation, complexity and strong decision making related to whatever work items are involved, we have to find solutions based on our considering gravity of situation. And just to think about what we have as problem, how can we solve? We may have many alternative solutions, but depending on experience or depending on current convention, or you can say depending on problems severity, we can decide which alternative is best for us. And this everybody does as a professional. It doesn't mean that we cannot do this, we can do this in a different way, so that we don't waste very much time and we get it as better as it is. So we can say, in fact, problems are not counted in numbers, but in considering gravity of situation, complexity and strong decision making related to whatever work items are involved, and that's why I try to explain what does it mean. And therefore, if you want to define coordination, we can define way in this different way that for sure is necessary to be understood. First, we understand what is coordination, and if you don't understand that, we cannot go on that profile. We cannot move on that profile successfully. You can say coordination definition is for sure necessary for an understanding. You have to necessary to realize or to refine it. What is coordination? And understanding is important, and we have to know real meaning of that. It's not article meaning actually. There's a difference. I'm not talking about article meaning. I'm talking about implication meaning. Every word has two meaning. One is article. What does the article say? But what implication says is more important. We can understand by article meaning why this word has come like this, or what is behind this word, or story behind this word. We can say, हम जानते हैं कि हम किसी बात को समझने के लिए हमें जानना होगा कि कोऑर्डिनेशन क्या है, आपका ये समन्वय क्या है. समन्वय भी अलग अलग तरीके हो सकते हैं जो कि हमारी कमियों को, हमारी अच्छाइयों को उजागर कर सकते हैं. तो हमें अगर परिभाषित करना है कोऑर्डिनेशन को, समन्वय के तरीकों को, तो हमको पहले समझना होगा कि हमें क्या बताना है. ऐसे ही बस बताने से काम नहीं चलता, समझने से काम चलता है. पहले खुद भी समझना होगा. So coordination definitions for sure necessary to be understood for its real meaning, and that's a very different question. It has understood, and real meaning has to be defined or explained so that no mixing is available, no mixing is in result, and mixing is always very dangerous because it is logicless, and we can mix this just like spices where our taste, maybe that taste doesn't suit me. So therefore, we have to see that our communication, our coordination implies onto others. So we have to consider professionally, not personally. And that's also important. Yes, there's coordination in personal life also, but that's only your responsibility. When it comes to project, it's responsibility of everyone. So we have to keep this in mind that you can say in construction world we are talking of, and it's very, very different that in construction world we have to deal with, and in particularly project works, structural and buildings, construction, no limitation of drawings or documents is limited, no limitation works there. So it's just like I explain every time. I'll go move now to until time we explained last time, which was very, we can say, if I go further here, let me go in full page. It will take time to like, so we can say here, I just bump onto this. Forty or we say 50, I don't know exactly. Let us start from 40 itself, just to repeat fast so that you can get clear refreshing. I also don't exactly remember what I was. And so reading it for purpose that Elisa 40 in this talk is 5 over 40, and we can say to be very frank in stating, definition of coordination. To be very frank, I'm talking about this from my viewpoint. Very frank, it is very frankly speaking, in stating definition of coordination in a nutshell. So it's a defining nutshell that can be acceptable. It can be acceptable to describe an engineer who can procure all related professionals, to describe an engineer who can procure all related professionals belonging with specific respective individual discipline onto firm and final agreement on whatever involved project component or components, and whatever activity applicable on a set of combination of all architectural, structural and services drawings, free from every clash, or it may be named coordinated drawing for all practical working purpose. So this is just, I read it so that we can refresh where last time we tried to leave. I know exactly point number, but previous discussion should be considered for a couple of seconds or minutes. That's what I'm trying to do. It's not very specific. The coordination is affected only in engineering, but also applicable elsewhere in other professions, as well as you can say in administration, and it further be carried forward to work of governments all over world. Next points, they often reported that many schemes could not take off even at budget stage, and also post budget at initial stage, because of lack of required information, lack of availability of required information, or because of non-availability of capable you can say capable professionals, administrators who could procure or import or force to join all respective personnel to one page. So it's also, every point is important here. Some finding once I read it means how it is, how to do it, and consequence of that is in respects of failure. Consequences in respect of failure leads to prorogation of all such projects for longer duration, resulting budget cost, dissolution, and you can say rethinking to be made on every such project. Rethinking. 1 hour has gone, 1 hour, quarter hour, 12. So consequence in case of failure leads to prorogation of all such projects for longer duration, resulting budget cost, dissolution, and rethinking to be made on every such project. कहने का मतलब आपका संचार, आपकी समन्वय व्यवस्था इतनी समझदारी के हिसाब से बननी चाहिए जिससे आपका माइंड भी क्लियर रहे और जो भी इससे डील कर रहे हैं वो भी इससे क्लियर रहे, कोई डर ना हो कि पता नहीं क्या हो गया हमारे घर में, कुछ एक्सीडेंट तो नहीं हो गया, सोच आ जाती है ऐसी हर बार। जबकि कई बार बड़ी बड़ी मौसम खराब होने से कुंडियाँ हिल जाती हैं। एंड वी कैन से नोवेयर इन एंटायर वर्ल्ड we can find capable ministers who may be able to lead ministries in such a way that works move according to required degree of coordination mechanism. So we go to next point as now that I'm talking of ministries, and that's very important point from national viewpoint, that it has been seen that ministries are not very competent as far as, because there is no constitutional or requirement or legal requirement for certain must level of education. Therefore, you can say everybody cannot be capable if you have no basis of knowledge, no basis of education. So never in entire world we can find capable ministers because of that reason. And because they are not very capable, persons are not well defined or professionalized, in that case we can say that sorry, but the works they do means works move according to required degree of coordination mechanism, which did not work there because people do not know about that. And coordination, people may call I coordinated. This calling coordination and doing coordination are different issues. I don't expect actually leaders, general leaders, to analyze every requirement, and that's not possible. So we can start foregoing explanation. Whatever explanations are given, have been charted out for purpose of conducting necessary brainstorming. We can say detailed discussion, conferring. That's called brainstorming, means logical arguments. It's not simply arguments, but logical argument and scientific argument, you may say. Brainstorming that may be called by all others for contemplating on this essential purpose. Because project means absolute and optimum use of funds, and also not to waste funds for futile results. As I say, futile results, but we cannot expect non-professionals to realize these facts. Only requirements of this, whatever given, are very significant, and these are only professionals who can require this and who can go through such items and then put into automatic consumption use. So engineering explanation is quite different here, and we can say then, while handling engineering projects, every engineer has to rely on certain specific disciplines or branches of engineering, branches of various engineering disciplines, which have at least 15 branches, I think so, of branches of gross engineering and building engineering, or architectural engineering, civil engineering, or I can say whatever else, may say 15 branches of gross engineering and building engineering, or architectural engineers, or civil engineers, or structural engineers, or electromechanical engineers, or security related engineers, information technology engineers, etc. are required to work on execution works and you can see two structures to information technology, or you can say architectural engineers, civil engineers, or structural electromechanical engineers, security related engineers, information technology engineers, etc. are required to work in team structure to produce design details as as well as carry out on execution work, carry out execution work at supervision level as well as at construction levels. A very powerful weight of this paragraph. In fact, it's very powerful. So we come to the next point because we have to jump onto a few points and then we'll discuss about this. Even on buildings, we can say, even on buildings we do not have all complexities as are noticed on plants facility. This point is missing here a little, so I have filled up again on you can say even on buildings, I will say work buildings, we do not know all complexities as are noticed on plants facilities or chemistry or chemical processing projects, which are spread in square miles areas and may so we can say even on buildings we do not have all complexities as are noticed on plant processes. So both are different nature, plant process and buildings. If you see building is very different than what is considered a plant, really is pitching. Even on buildings we do not have all complexities as are noticed on plants facilities or chemical processing projects, which are spread in square miles and therefore we can say spread in square miles and may consume many years for each project and each vector. So we can say in this regard, next point is, on such projects there can be fixed no limits except to make sure that industry keeps promoting towards meeting more and more capacity requirements. Literally yawning. Relaxing. I relax more. बीच में हिंदी बोल रहा था फिर छूट गई, क्या करें, भूल जाता है दिमाग। कोई बात नहीं है, हिंदी भी बोल रहे हैं भाई, जितना बोल सकते हैं बोल रहे हैं, जितना समझ आता है ठीक है, नहीं समझ आता तो आप अपने आप समझ लीजिए, मैं क्या करूँगा उसमें। आई एम सॉरी टू से दैट, बट स्टिल mind moves in different, when mind is busy means you forget that you have to translate. That also happens, it happens with that. After all, we are whole human being and we have this weakness. So I can simply say that in this point, as I said, that on such projects there can be fixed no limits except to make sure that industry keeps promoting towards meeting more and more capacity requirements, which means that green projects are raw one. Green projects means they are raw one, new one we had to work on from scratch. But one green work attains final success on it, then it becomes brown, of course, for next either augmentation or its capacity, augmentation of capacity potential or for enhancing certain standards. आपको पता है दो तरह के प्रोजेक्ट होते हैं, एक ग्रीन प्रोजेक्ट होता है, एक ब्राउन प्रोजेक्ट होता है। ग्रीन का मतलब हरा है, ब्राउन का मतलब भूरा है। और हरे का मतलब जब हरियाली से आप शुरू करते हैं कुछ नहीं होता, वहाँ पे हरियाली है, डेजर्ट होता है, कुछ भी तो नहीं होता है। और आपको वहाँ नया काम शुरू करना है, इसको हम कहते हैं ग्रीन प्रोजेक्ट। और दूसरा होता है जहाँ काम ऑलरेडी है, प्रोजेक्ट ऑलरेडी है उस जगह में, हमें उसको और बढ़ाना है, उसको हम कह देते हैं दिस इज टेम्पररी you may say, if not permanent. So it depends on how we consider green project and brown project. Brown means something to be expanded or added, while green means original work. And we have to be sure about that because we deal with concrete, क्योंकि हम concrete से रिश्ता है हमारा, मेटेरियल से रिश्ता है हमारा, और अगर वो हम सही तरह से नहीं कर पाते, समझ पाते, तो प्रॉब्लम ही है. In fact, architectural engineer, civil engineer, along with structural engineer and with support of all other services engineers, I'm sorry, projects can be handled with success provided alliance works proficiently, not in lying mode. Of course, everybody has fixed alliance. Need to have. So when it's stated about quality requirement, you can say, as far as handled success provided alliance works professionally, respecting, honoring each other, project design and executive member, complying with project coordination and more specifically quality requirement. So we come to, I think, new point today, and that's 50 new point, and now we can say we'll go with complete concentration on this because it's a very important one. It's not just a runaway from our so when it's stated that state about quality requirement, which indicates that quality must be used for purpose of conducting coordination. समन्वय जब मान लिया जाता है कि करना है, और आपको इन जाके गलियों में so we can repeat this now, 50 points, very important point where it's stated about quality requirement, which indicates that quality must be used for purpose of conducting coordination and disciplined execution in each and every respect. When it is stated about quality requirement, which indicates that statement indicates that quality must be used for purpose of conducting coordination and discipline execution. Coordination and discipline execution in each and every respect. Unfortunately, quality requirement has been misled, that's true, and its has been failure has been happening by misunderstanding this discipline in its entirety. I repeat because you have to sometimes with something because of signals problem, so I repeat occasionally why we have to achieve. Oh. So it is when it's stated about quality requirement, that indicates quality must be used for purpose of conducting coordination and discipline execution in each and every respect. Unfortunately, quality requirement has been misled by its future aspect. little gap because of some personal issue, sorry. And we continue this logic of this connectivity. I think that I have to move on this statement that about quality works in each and every discipline in life as well as in every profession, whereas engineering is no different. Quality must be used as a requirement in all works, including world of quality and coordination. So we can say if you count from 50 and 51, we have different arrangements when it is stated about quality requirement, which indicates or which tells that quality must be used for purpose of conducting good coordination and discipline execution in each and every respect. Unfortunately, quality requirement has been misled and its failure has been happening by misunderstanding that this is discipline in its entirety. जो होना चाहिए वो नहीं हो रहा है जो होना चाहिए, और क्वालिटी पाने के लिए, क्वालिटी करने के लिए, कोऑर्डिनेशन सही होने के लिए वी हैव टू बी वेरी स्पेसिफिक. लेकिन ऐसा नहीं हुआ, सब गलत डायरेक्शन में गए, गलत डायरेक्शन में चले गए, and that's where we have lost something. And failure is very important, quality failure, which means we have to learn something, but we have just forgotten failure also, and that is problematic. You can say that quality works in each and every discipline in life as well as in every profession, whereas engineering is no different. Quality must be used as a requirement in all works, including word of quality and coordination. Factually speaking, adverse individual's quality is known by its professional personality. Efficiency achieved about degree of work or production quality one possesses, and then further assessment can be calculated, can be done or charted out to know its level of work and specifically coordination competency attained by individual professional. You may find some sentences are complex, but these are not complex. Trinity of one sentence after other, so that this may be considered unit paragraph. Factually, again I say factually speaking, individual quality is known by professional personality. Professional person also you can say. Efficiency achieved about degree of work or production quality one possesses, and then further assessment can be calculated or charted out to know its level of work and specifically coordination competency attained by individual professional. जब हम coordination की बात कर रहे हैं, quantity, you can say quality automatically comes into play. It has to come into play because without coordination, quality cannot be achieved. We have already discussed, and therefore it has to be factual one. And also we say that engineering is factual one. Engineering is based on not on fictions but on facts. We can say in no way exists. There is no way that exists. The quality can be achieved proficiently without working on expert coordination, not just coordination but expert coordination for doing right work for first time every time and controlling use of each and every resource for optimum use. Here I'm just giving some sentences which have been taken based on life experience. How can we pick up something? For example, we say here that right work first time every time It's very important and principle that don't waste time on work which cannot be considered right. You have to do work right time and you have to think of before doing work how is right. Or what do you mean by right here? How can you do that with ease? We have to realize that fact that again I say no way exists that quality can be achieved achieved proficiently without working on expert coordination for doing right work first time every time and controlling use of each and every resource for optimum use means minimum required use or maximum required use or more than that should not go. We will say how to control speed elsewhere. We can just drive vehicle and say, no, I'm going to 100, 160. That's not the right approach. You can go 160, you can go 180, you can go 200. But remember that this is not general. There are always risks of lives of others. That point you have to keep in mind while considering this, and this fact, very fact. And we also know that certain points that are required to be discussed for purpose of project executions that are required to be discussed for purpose of project execution. One can organization handling respecting construction work activities in both disciplines of site work as well as coordination without which works cannot be completed in each and all respects. काम तो पूरे करने पड़ेंगे और इसलिए कुछ पॉइंट हैं कुछ बातें हैं जो हमें डिस्कस करनी होंगी विवरण करना होगा कॉल करना होगा और किस तरह से हम प्रोजेक्ट को कार्य के रूप दें किस तरह से इसको हम आगे बढ़ाएं कंस्ट्रक्शन इसकी वो सब करने के लिए हमको कुछ दूसरे डिसिप्लिन से भी व्यवहार करना होगा because organization handling, respecting construction work, activities or operations in both disciplines of site work as well as coordination without which works cannot be completed in each and all disciplines. Now, what I say for this purpose, as I said above, for this purpose, it has been attempted to write certain points. I call these points actually, these are not explanations. For this purpose, it has been attempted to write certain points herein so that one could get an understanding about works, requirements in profession of building construction. Point in one book from long back in 92 to 96, but has been too long yet works have not changed since in terms of quality and coordination despite availability of digital world everywhere. That is really discouraging professionally, it's discouraging statement, but we are now trying to gather at one point whatever could be done so that we should not forget, and whenever we open that file it should be with us. I can say that's the important point, that's how we do it. Let's consider following point or activities, etc. in works to be carried out on sites or elsewhere. These are points I'm going to discuss. Let's consider following points or activities, etc. in works. We can say in works to be carried out, works to be carried out, carried out. You can say works to be carried out on sites. That's true. Or else, or we can classify these into certain classes. We can categorize these into certain classes or can call them stages of project working, such as visualization of an idea to be converted into useful permanent work, technicalities, involvement in its entire scope, carrying works at site, all works and testing, etc., with commissioning for converting project into operational unit or occupation unit. So it's also very complicating statement. Complicated statements can say, let's consider following point or activities, etc. in work to be carried out on sites or elsewhere, or we can classify these into certain classes or categories, or can call them stages of project working, such as visualization of an idea to be converted into useful permanent work, technicalities, involvement in its entire scope, carrying works at testing, at site all works and testing, and commissioning for converting project into operational unit or occupation unit. And project may vary from one point to another. We have discussed many plans of project, many views. I'm not just going to that view immediately, but we know that easy works and complicated works always count. And people have done a lot of work. I don't say no, means a lot of works have been done throughout the world and our country as well. That's not a fact which can be denied. We have to know, but we have to know what is important, what activities are involved, and how we have to do that, how to understand those activities, how to give them what respect we have to give them, what honor we have to give them, what efficiency is required to do them, or what worship is, what's quality of your worship, what's quality of work, all this really linked. You cannot simply keep quality isolated or keep quality in another cylinder. You have to take gas in this cylinder, means you cannot say that. Very important point that everybody should understand. And if you don't understand, we miss a lot. So we have to keep this in mind, this small sentence of technical work, permanent work. And we can say that following many previous points are required to be exploded into world of explanation in various heads and subheads, working out comprehensive designs for projects in each and every respect. That point you have to understand. Working out comprehensive designs for project in each and every respect. Designs include architectural details, structural details, services details, internal and external landscape and utilities. That is known by individual disciplines, and of course we cannot fly this. So the point is the foregoing briefest points are required to be exploded into world of explanation into various heads and subheads, and working out comprehensive designs for project in each and every respect. Designs include architectural details, structural details, services details, internal and external landscape and utilities, which are all unlimited. Preparation, you can say preparation of working out designs. Our designs were actually working out designs for running relevant details in all disciplines, also required for various legal purposes. My battery is how much? Let me see. It's 49%. So let me wait for some more time. I says that preparation of working designs for running relevant details in all disciplines, also required for various legal purposes, and composition of formation of documents, package for purpose of either charting out details or bidding invitation or for self doing these works. You have to decide. We can do self also, and we can do through contracting, and that documents we should be ready with whatever way we do. If these documents are required for purpose of contracting work, we have to prepare contract related documents, and if it is related to only knowledge, say apply in profession, and then here we come. We can say then composition of formation documents package for purpose of either charting out calls for bidding invitations, self doing these works. These are stages of preparations. You can say we have to prepare documents which are required for even bidding of a work, and that's a major part of pre-construction. You can say it's not easy, even if it is its buildings or its plant facilities. It's not easy because you have to form documents. We cannot give every copy to everybody and say you read on this from this back. Nobody will like that because the standards are this. I want independent work or I want dependent work. It depends on one of the persons. So we can see this point very clearly. Preparation of bill of quantities, which is called in short BOQs for each discipline, is very much necessary once all designs are finally available. And accuracy at this stage, which helps in starting various controls on scheme for project. बिल ऑफ क्वांटिटी बनाने पड़ेंगे. क्वांटिटी का मतलब होता है कि आपको निकालना पड़ेगा हर आइटम में कितना कितना काम होना है, और जो भी आइटम के आपको काम होने उसको लिस्ट बनाते हैं, उसमें लिखते हैं बिल ऑफ क्वांटिटी, और साथ में रेट भी बनाते हैं और बाद में मल्टीप्लाई कर देते हैं जितने यूनिट के जाए. ऐसे दिस इज वेयर वी स्टैंड ऑफ. So preparation of all documents to be compiled with, including bids for allowing construction works to go on. Okay, so we can say preparation of bill of quantities for each discipline. Preparation of bill of quantities for each discipline is very much necessary. Once all designs are finally available, and accuracy at this stage much helps in starting various controls on scheme or project. That's very important point we have to take clearly, because it's very important one. How it goes away, I don't know, but it's very important here to think of and currently do it. Preparation of bills of quantities for each discipline is very much necessary. Once all designs are finally available, preparation of bills of quantity for each discipline is very much necessary. Once all designs are finally available, and accuracy at this stage much helps in starting various controls on schemes or project. Preparation of all required documents to be preparation of all documents to be included on bids for allowing construction experts to work out respective price to implement project to its success. Among above structural part of documents and finishes, part of architectural as well as other activities dominate cost factor that can be marginalized per BOQ and decided, required and demanded specifications pertinent all disciplines involved. Indeed, expressive expressive heads amount to voluminous work quantum, but it is necessary for every control or construction time, duration required, cost necessary, and standard of quality requirements which would be dominated by sort of specifications to be included. Initially, all foregoing activities, though conducted off-sites in offices of experts, yet are that's fine. I don't know what's gone. Actually, it shouldn't be like that. So you can select We can say initially all following activities though conducted office of sites in offices of experts. Initially all following activities though conducted in offices of experts, yet are coordinated perfectly at all stages from design viewpoint. The major portion relates to design engineering domain and quantity engineering, also so-called estimation. Designs within this stage must be coordinated correctly. Designs within this stage must be coordinated correctly to an extent possible among various disciplines, say between architectural and structural disciplines, structural and services disciplines, and all other disciplines, whatever being involved. Total, total concept of constructability, buildability must be taken care of during all such designs and respective coordination, which if ignored could mar smooth execution, possibly project work activities resulting in certain delays on completion time. Constructability is a domain. Constructability is a dominant issue in current advanced technology application. You can say that constructability is a dominant issue in current advanced technology application scenario, which of course lacks in training at first level of education. It should be kept in mind that engineering is a factual world and no fiction can be successful, which means that just talking is not adequate, but work delivery, implementation is necessary. It's very important point here, and that we're talking is constructability. Constructability we have very strict about. We have to be very strict about in this. We have to think a lot in this about constructability, and that's what we say. A dominant issue, we can call it constructability, a dominant issue in current advanced technology applications scenario, which of course lacks in training at first level of education. It should be kept in mind that engineering is a factual world and no fiction can be successful, which means that just talking is not adequate, but work delivery implementation is necessary. For meeting aforesaid requirements, a lot of professional maturity is essential. A lot of professional maturity is essential to comprehend whole issue that relates to works to be carried out by various either agencies or parties involved on every project, from conception stage to design stage to construction stage, and then finally to delivery stage. Such activities entitlement can be described in its heading form as such, which may be indexed in entirety into divisions of project planning, explanations of planning classes. We can say division is project planning. I'm talking of divisions of these project activities, which we can say such activities entitlement can be described in its heading form as such, which may be indexed in entirety into division of project planning, explanations of planning classes, entire design involving all disciplines, pertinent all branches of included engineering whatsoever. That is entire design. That's first one. Entire design, which involving disciplines, all disciplines, pertinent all branches of job included engineering whatsoever. Detailed designing for project functional requirements for purpose of further documentation that may be required for meeting objectives of formation of formal contract, and then contracts of working documents contracts of working documents, quantification leading to various bills of quantities, preparation, specification, preparation, you can say specification, preparation, which could be general as well as project related specifically, particularly, as well as manufacturers related procedures, processing, comprehensive package of bidding documents, shortlisting possible project related experienced bidders, processing entire bidding leading to selection of contractor after having conducted thorough scrutiny of received bid documents, passed through professional competition, furthering if required conducting negotiations based on value added bids and also received an alternative bid, formal declaration of appointment of contractors, which could be either in construction status or in EPC status, depending on requirements. It's a paragraph which contains so many points, so we just repeat it because it's a little complicated to classify it properly in a list form, which we'll do later, but now we're just comprehending it in such a way that everything is covered correctly. So we define like this, just that we did one, we did one, we have to do it now. Here we say, for meeting aforesaid requirements have been clearly defined. Up to point 70, meeting aforesaid requirements, a lot of professional maturity is essential. A lot of professional maturity is essential to comprehend whole issue that relates to works to be carried out by various either agencies or parties involved on every project from conception stage to design stage. We are covering here complete stages, and that is conception stage to design stage, that's to say construction stage to design stage, stage to design stage, and then to construction stage, and then finally to delivery stage. So we have here four points of covering entire stage, entire planning, and we can say that all covered activities within these points, such activities entitlement can be described in its heading form as such, which may be indexed in entirety into division of project planning, explanations of planning classes, that is one project planning, we can say. We can define those classes, and that class is first is planning. We can define those, and this can go to design, where design is involved, entire design, we can say entire design, involving all disciplines, branches of engineering or branches of job included engineering whatsoever, all branches. This means this is design world of that project. First design world, that is means concept, field we call that also, now not written here, but it's conceptual design, it's planning, and then we have to do detailed designing based on that prime design, and detailed design we have to do per project functional requirements for purpose of further documentation that may be required for meeting objectives of formation of formal, then we can say contracts then comes into play once we have completed or we complete detailed designs per requirement, per project functional requirements, for purpose of further documentation that may be required for meeting objectives of formation of formal contracts or working documents. That point is really very interesting here to understand. How can we do it? It's really very much important to know how we can do it. That point is really interesting. In fact, it's very, very interesting. We cannot do otherwise, So we have to understand that point clearly. That designs means detailed designing for project functional requirements or for purpose of further documentation that may be required for meeting objectives of formation of formal. Then we can come to contracts of working. Contracts of working documents, we can say contracts of working documents, quantification leading to various bills of quantities, preparation, specification, preparation, which could be general as well as project related, specifically, particularly, as well as you can say manufacturers related procedures, assessing comprehensive package of bidding documents, shortlisting possible project related experienced bidders, processing entire bidding, leading to selection of contractors after having conducted thorough scrutiny of received bid documents, passed through professional competition, furthering, if required, conducting negotiations based on value-added bids, or else also received an alternative bid, formal declaration of appointment of contractor, which could be either in construction status or in EPC status, depending on requirements. A long sentence, long paragraph, which must be clearly defined, and that's very important slice in, and we have to go to that level very we can say very cleverly, very clearly, and that's where point lies in. We have to be very factual about that. So this point is very I like to jump onto this. We'll see how this will work. I repeat this paragraph because very, very complicated. I will resolve it later on, but now it says such activities entitlement can be described in its heading form as such, which is we have entire design, then we have detailed design, then we have contracts, and then we have quantities, or you can say we have certain other procedures of you may say contract resolution. This paragraph designs about how to resolve contracts. That's the important point. These contracts we have to resolve, and that's the only way we can say we have to resolve these contracts, and that's a very important purpose. And we may say that whatever stages are involved in designing, and we have that bifurcated into entire design and detailed design, and then we have shifted to contracts procedures, where we have put dashes here. We can see this hyphen or dashes column, and contracts have been defined. We can analyze that one as well, and then we jump on to after contract resolution. Then we can say pre-construction. These say foregoing immediate paragraphs. As I said, foregoing immediate paragraphs is 72 here in this case. Maybe number change later on, but foregoing immediate paragraphs contents fulfill pre-construction of project execution requirements, which are of course very cumbersome, since all involved activities are office oriented but import heavy, professional working experience and professional pragmatism for a successful implementation or impending contract documentation based on bid documentation, you can say. And for sure, all aforesaid included works activities amount to involvement of engineering and coordination on equal basis, because if one is missed, other shall also be missed or miss, which critically must be considered seriously for smooth, for reliable documentation, for reliable working or execution of project works. For sure, all aforesaid included works activities amount to involvement of engineering and coordination on equal basis, because of one is missed, other shall also miss, which criticality must be considered seriously for smooth, for reliable documentation, for reliable working or execution of project works. So that is what it says, and therefore we can say it's again refreshed that conducting multidisciplinary coordination from involved branches of various engineering, that must be depending on project nature, shall always be a must for final detailing out engineering solutions and not just working on isolated solutions for each discipline. This again refers that conducting multidisciplinary coordination from involved branches of various engineering, we can say from involved branches of various engineering, that must be dependent on project nature, shall always be must for final detailing out engineering solutions and not just working on isolated solutions for each discipline. And that's where point is, and this important point is there, and you can see. Very important point, in fact, which is, we can say that how does it work? I don't know what's work for, Hello, where are they are. So we can consider it that way, and we can say that how it works. We have to be very clear about that, and it's really sometimes not. We have to think of that. Now, since we have to, we'll take up, we have many points here we have to discuss. So, what I say, it's again refreshed that conducting multidisciplinary coordination from involved branches of various engineering, that must be depending on project nature, shall always be must for final detailing out engineering solutions and not just working on isolated solutions. Discuss them in its entirety so that we can get into real picture requirement, and that's what I'm trying to say here, that we have covered something like that. So it's now, we say we'll close it down because signals are also down, and we cannot cannot move entirely on that. So let's close it better. We'll see later on. Very few FPS and once things will be recorded properly. So I take it down from field. 3 FPS, 30 FPS it says sometimes, 240 is okay. Now we'll close down. Thank you very much. I'll just say that we keep here like this much, and also we keep here in this way, keep likewise, and we can say that we do this way and that way, and we move on to this point very reasonably, well oriented, and I'll take it down now 2 hours 40 minutes, and we can say site, and we close it like that.